Hello everyone. I'm here today just to clear my thoughts on something that's kind of bothering me. Some things you listen to, some things you hear, and they just nag at you. So, something that has nagged at me for a little while, and I wanted just to talk about it. So, I was recently watching Bill Maher. And he was, he's got this whole religious thing that he goes about in interviews, talks to different people about religion, and kind of in his cynical, condescending way. He kind of just talks about, asks these questions and makes kind of these insinuations about religion. It's just totally absurd in the whole nine. And some of the things, there's a couple of things that bother me. One is the whole tone of the things. The other thing that bothers me is the answers. I think that a lot of people of faith, we kind of answer things, and to Bill Maher's credit, sometimes we answer things and don't really think about what we're saying. We don't answer it, and it doesn't make sense. And so there's a couple of things that bother me. One is the premise on which he asks the question, and then you get sucked into the premise, and then you get stuck in your answer. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about right now is that he talked to the center, and he says, about creation. And he says, creation, surely you don't think that the world began with Adam and Eve 5,000 years ago. And then the senator proceeds to try to answer, I think this. And the thing about it is, we have to come to the realization as Christians that, the world probably is millions of years old or whatever. But what I don't like is the notion that, if Bill Maher brings up, surely you don't think it's 5,000 years ago, that somehow he's got it all Christendom pigeonholed. And if we admit that it's not 5,000, our faith breaks down. And if we say it was 5,000 years ago, oh my goodness, we're saying it in the face of all scientific evidence. So the simple answer is the earth probably is millions of years old, but that does not mean that God did not create the earth. And we just have to look at things. If you read, Genesis chapter 1, the whole chapter 1, don't go to chapter 2, just read chapter 1. And you read the whole thing. It doesn't have anything in there about Adam and Eve. It talks about God creating the earth, and it goes about and just says how things were created. And he created man, and that was it. Man, male and female, he created. Bam. It's all right there written. It doesn't have a timeline. It doesn't have anything specific. As a matter of fact, in one of the days, God creates the heaven and the earth, the sun, the moon, for time and for seasons. So obviously, the day, that he created the stars, the moon, sun, whatever, that wasn't in time, like our regular time. So there is no time clock of when God created the earth. There's no time clock. If you read all of chapter 1 of Genesis, there is no time clock. So why do we automatically assume, why are we putting things into the scripture that's not there? We just assume that, the whole world began when Adam and Eve were in the garden. But it does not say that. So we have to begin to not read into scripture, just read it for what it is, and don't fill in the blanks, because a lot of times when we try to fill in the blanks, we make assumptions that aren't there, and that's one of them. So Bill Maher, you don't have all Christendom pigeonholed that oh my gosh, I just broke their whole faith and made them look stupid and crazy because I believe that the earth is more than 5,000 or 6,000 years old. But it doesn't mean that God did not create the earth. Now, second point I want to make, that's the first point. The second point I want to make is, okay, Bill Maher, if you believe in evolution, great. So if you don't believe in talking serpents, then you must believe that maybe one day humans will grow wings and fly. because that's what evolution basically is. You believe that we, basically the beginning or the beginnings of life here on Earth, which scientists don't even know how life began on Earth, number one. So you have one hurdle right there, is to think that life happened by accident, number one. Number two is you get past that life happened by accident and you have no evidence of how it started. You just believe that it did start by accident. That's number one. Two is that you then believe that fish of the sea, the fish of the sea grew ears and grew mouths and tongues and began to speak and breathe air and grew legs and eventually grew into human beings, into the beings that we are now. So you believe that we came from fish and whatever. So I don't know if it sounds pretty absurd to you. Might sound pretty absurd to me. But before you poke fun at or sound cynical at speaking serpents, well then I think it might sound a little crazy that you'd think that we might one day grow wings and fly. So those are my 2 points. Those are the things that I kind of get on my nerves, that you haven't proven any big point with creation or anything like that. You just asked someone a question that didn't quite know how to answer it. So there you have it. If you have any comments, leave them. All right. Have a good night or day or evening.